Okay, astrology update. There is so much going on right now. I want to talk about this eclipse that is coming in the sign of Cancer, the new moon / total solar eclipse that is happening at 10 degrees of Cancer. That's happening July 2nd, so very soon. We generally feel the energy of the eclipse like long before it happens, so maybe like a month or so before the eclipse happens, and then like multiple months, like 6 months or so after the eclipse. Yeah, lots going on right now. We could be feeling a little bit emotional. It is Cancer season, and Cancer is the sign that is the most like personal of the zodiac. It rules our personal experiences, our personal like emotional responses to things, the events that we've gone through in our lifetime that have kind of shaped us. That have created the wounds, the triggers, and just how we respond, how we react, how we can, our ability to show up and to go out into the external world based on how well we've kind of dealt with those situations that have, affected us in some way. So, yeah, we've had, it's been a little bit intense. Last week we had Mars oppose Pluto and Saturn. And some astrologers said that was like the worst day of 2019. That was a pretty powerful aspect. So that, and just the fact that we've had Saturn and Pluto kind of like dancing together throughout this whole year, that's just building up until the conjunction in January of 2020, when these two planets come like exactly conjunct, which these are two probably of the most malefic planets. So it's not necessarily like a light, happy, fun energy with Saturn and Pluto. It's very transformative, but it's not easy. It's not light and playful. And the same thing with the Pluto energy, like, Saturn and Pluto both. Saturn is the planet that rules like our boundaries, the boundaries that we can work within on this material realm. Pluto is the planet of death and destruction and transformation. It is the phoenix rising from the ashes, but in order to rise from the ashes, to the beautiful image of the phoenix rising from the ashes, in order to do that, you must be like burned down to the ground and fully hit rock bottom and kind of destroyed, as Pluto rules destruction. So it doesn't feel super light and, fun throughout that whole process. And I feel like right now we could be feeling a little bit just like run down and drained and tired. I feel like there's been so much that's been coming up internally, like so many emotions that we've been like sifting through, that we could just want to kind of retreat and like go into your Cancer crab shell, as that is what this energy represents. Cancer rules the home and the family, like I was saying, and it rules, our personal responses to things, our emotions. It rules our ability to like digest life, to digest these life experiences that we've had. And so I feel like right now we are leading up to this eclipse. I feel like this is a huge turning point. Like eclipses generally bring some type of fated karmic events. It can just be a really quick like kind of breaking off of what you no longer can bring with you moving forward. With it being in the sign of Cancer, it's like we're like growing out of our shell. The way that we used to show up in the world, and the things that we used to turn to that would emotionally support us or nurture us or, have us feel safe and secure, those things no longer work. It's like, maybe it's different relationships you've outgrown, or a job, or a place of living, or just the way that you fucking handle your emotions. Like, I think that right now we really have the ability to be really aware and really conscious of our triggers, as this is like trigger central, Cancer ruling childhood wounds and ruling these these events that have shaped us, that have hardened us in some way. So I feel like there could be a lot of like, like the crystallized energy that's like these stuck emotions within our body that can then manifest as dis-ease. So maybe it's like tightness in different parts of your body. Maybe you're getting a lot of body work done during this time, or like taking baths, or just like all of the self-care things would be really helpful, because that is the Cancer energy. But Receiving messages. Yeah, so I think we're working through the unprocessed emotions, like the emotions that we haven't wanted to look at, the stuff that could have happened earlier in our lifetime, in our childhood, that's kind of shaped who we are today. So these unprocessed emotions that we've been carrying around with us, with this Cancer energy opposing Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, it's like we can feel the weight of these unprocessed emotions, these fears around like why we're not good enough, why we can't fully show up in the world, that are rooted from maybe not receiving the type of nurturing that you needed when you were younger, or, not having the exact family dynamic that you would have preferred. So then that can leave us feeling like as we get older, like, oh, well, we're not good enough, or the world's not safe, or it's not safe for me to fully show up and to express myself, or whatever it looks like for you. You can look at what house this energy is falling in your chart to gain greater awareness as to what area of your life personally it's highlighting. But yeah, I think if we have the courage to sit with the things that are coming up right now, and to really look at these, like to look at our emotional responses to things, to look at how we are maybe clinging to things outside of ourselves, clinging to people, to different experiences, or different relationships that that just no longer work anymore, that no longer make us feel supported and loved and nurtured. And now we're really reaching a new place of like, shedding our skin, like those old ways of being don't work for us. Like we're really throughout this whole year kind of throwing off the old beliefs, like the old conditioned beliefs, maybe that we received from our family or from, just growing up in this society. We're really being asked to figure out what is true to us, like what is our truth, not what the beliefs are that we've been, taught that we need to follow, or, what our life needs to look like, but really figuring out what makes sense to us, and building up a stronger like internal boundaries, just a stronger internal world, like a better foundation for our to kind of work through our own emotions, so that we're not clinging to things outside of us, because that the Cancer energy, it can be probably the clingiest sign in the zodiac, because it wants to feel safe and secure, and so it can like hold on to things outside of itself. I would say probably that in Taurus, can cling, Taurus clings on to like possessions, but the Cancer energy, I think, can cling on to like people, or to relationships, or to, just like stuff that it's familiar with, because it knows that it feels safe there. But I think at this point, this time of the eclipse, those things no longer give us that same emotional security or support that they once did. So we're really needing to kind of build that up within ourselves, to build up the inner security, the inner stability, and really have a new like foundation that we can process our emotions through, so that we're not so like taken down by external events that happen, or people coming and going in our life, or jobs changing or moving, or whatever it looks like. But we're not so taken down by those events, because we've really built up a stronger internal world, that we don't need to hold on to things. We don't need that support from the other people so much. We can really turn inwards and give that to ourselves. And so I think like a lot of shaking up of this just like stuck energy that's been stuck within us for a long time. The energy that gets stuck within our body, and then keeps us from fully expressing, from fully going out into the world, from fully showing up, because we don't feel safe. Like if our internal world is intended to, if it's not taken care of, then we're not really able to go out into the external world and to hit the opposite end of the spectrum. So the Cancer Capricorn polarity. So if we don't tend to our internal world, and if we don't feel safe and secure in who we are, and just safe in the world, then the Cancer, like crab, cannot come out of its shell if it doesn't feel safe. It retracts, and it just goes inward, and it, maybe stays home, because Cancer rules the home, and so it doesn't feel safe to go out into the world and to express. So in order to hit that opposite end of the polarity, the Capricorn energy, We really need to build up our internal world, and we need to process through these things that we haven't wanted to look at. So process through these old emotions, these old fears, these old stories that we've told ourselves or that have been, pushed upon us throughout our lifetime and that we've held on to and like claimed as our own, as our identity. We need to work through those things by having like open conversations with people that you feel safe and comfortable around, that you can trust, that you can allow yourself to be vulnerable and to open and to shine light on these like fears that are just not real. They're like delusional. Yeah. Yeah, so by working through those things, by processing them, by shining light on them, by digging them up, by unearthing them and kind of, going through them, dissecting them, we can make sense of it. We can see like, okay, this was an, irrational fear that I had, or this was an unhealthy way of processing my emotions or of showing up in the world or showing up in a relationship or showing up in my career. That was not mine. That was, maybe something I picked up, or maybe that was something that once served me, that once took care of me, that once made me feel emotionally supported, but I can no longer, participate in that. I can no longer be in that situation, that relationship. I can no longer show up in that way if I truly want to be my best self. And so I think we're really taking responsibility and taking ownership and coming to like a new place of maturity, as that's the energy that Saturn rules, with it being in Capricorn. It's opposing, we've got all this energy in Cancer, the sun, the moon, we've got the North Node in Cancer, and then it's opposing the energy in Capricorn, which is the South Node, Pluto, and Saturn. So yeah, Saturn, the planet of our life lesson, Saturn, until you have your Saturn return, it's like that's when you kind of become an adult, because you've really seen things from a new perspective. It's kind of like coming back down here to Earth, and I feel like that's what we're doing at this time with these aspects being made to Saturn, with the Jupiter and Neptune aspect. It's like noticing the stories that we've told ourselves, or like our dreams, the things that we've wanted to accomplish that are not rooted in this reality. And so we're really being made aware of that, being made aware of these things that we want in our life, that aren't just gonna come to us if we don't do anything about it. That's like the Neptune. Neptune is making a positive aspect. It's sextiling Saturn. So this is a beautiful aspect. It's like being able to see these dreams and these like our idealized version of life and how we want to live and like what we want to create here, being able to see that, and with it making a positive aspect to Saturn, it's like, okay, Saturn is like the grounded fatherly figure, like, all right, what do we actually need to do on the day-to-day to make that happen? So yeah, it's a beautiful earth and water energy that are going together there. So yeah, I think that there could be a lot coming up at this time. There could be a lot of shifts and a lot of changes that happen kind of suddenly or drastically. But ultimately, I think it's for like, yeah, the greatest good right now. Like we're really being shaken up and woken up with Uranus making an aspect to this eclipse. Breaking free from these patterns that have kept us repeating the same cycles, or kept us putting our like giving our energy away to other things, other people, other situations that we felt we needed to like help us to feel safe and secure in our being, which we cannot do. Like we can't give that power away to other people. So at the time of this eclipse right now, and the months after, I think we're really, we're working through a lot of unprocessed emotions that we haven't wanted to look at, or maybe we've been like fearful of looking at in the past. But I feel that we're really ready to work through those things, to emotionally respond to events now, moving forward in a different way, from seeing things from a higher perspective and not being so like emotionally like caught up in the drama and triggered by it, and like tunnel vision of this is like the story of my life, and the victim mentality. Like this is really asking us to kind of like step up, to take responsibility, to take our power back, and and to parent our own inner child. The Cancer Capricorn dynamic, like the child and the parent, Cancer ruling like being in the womb and growing and like being birthed, and then the Cancer or the Capricorn energy is like the stern fatherly figure, like, okay, this is what you have to do to kind of show up and to be a part of the world. So parenting, yeah, our own inner child, like maybe at this time it would be beautiful to go back like to your younger version of yourself, and to even to just reflect, to reflect or to write your younger self a letter, or even now moving forward, you can call on both of those energies. It's like the feminine and the masculine energy of like the parental figure of like being able to lovingly nurture yourself, but also like have structure and boundaries and rules, and like, okay, this is, if I want to create this certain life, this is what I have to do each day to show up, like, and it doesn't have to be a dramatic like, oh, story, the Cancer energy that can get just caught in its emotions, but just seeing things from a more grounded place, less emotionally attached to things and like triggered by things, because we've done the work of processing those past events and those past emotions that have had power over us, or have been like controlling us and controlling the situations that we've been in. So now by going back and revisiting them and shining light on them and kind of working through them, nurturing yourself, parenting yourself through those situations, giving yourself the love and the care and the like nurturing support that you would have liked at that time, we can now more fully go out into the world. We can build up that inner strength and security so that we're not depending on other people to help us feel safe and secure, but we can build that up within ourselves, and then we feel safe to go out into the world and to be of service and to, hit that Capricorn thing, the other end of the polarity there. So yeah, stronger boundaries internally on what you will allow in your life and what you won't, what you need in your life to feel like, yes, you're building up that internal security and support within yourself, but we're also being asked to really go in the direction at this time that feels good. So not the things that we've done or the like repeating the cycles that we've lived in the past, but what feels right at this time, from being at a new place, like emotionally and internally. We're at a new space within ourselves. We're kind of shedding our skin, like coming out of our old shell and going into a new, like bigger, more pretty shell. So, okay. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Leading up to this eclipse, like this past month, it's felt super heavy to me. A lot of times things feel heavy, or just, it's felt like I've been processing a lot of emotions and like old stuff coming back up so that it can be, worked through again. So I think that's really important, to not beat yourself up or be like, oh, I thought I've already worked through this. Like, why is this coming up? But to just really be able to sit with the emotions when they come up and to give it space, to give it room to breathe. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon changes every 2.5 days. The moon represents our moods, our internal world, how we process our emotions. So that is constantly changing. It's constantly, moving through all the 12 signs of the zodiac. So I think it's just, allowing yourself to go through the phases as the moon changes, to allow yourself to go through different phases and to not cling on to any of them, or to not like, you don't have to, if you're feeling a little bit off, you don't have to dive super deep into it and like, get stuck there in that heaviness, but like just be with it, and like, okay, today, I'm feeling a certain way, tomorrow it'll probably be different, and just riding the waves and really allowing yourself to express, to just, to feel, and to not like judge it, to not cling to it, but allow yourself the water to keep flowing, to keep moving. Stagnant water is no good. So, all right, yeah, I'm excited for this eclipse. I think it's a huge turning point. I think we're coming to a new place of like emotional maturity within ourselves, able to process stuff from the past, able to see what we need in our lives now in order to move forward in a direction that just feels right, that feels better, that feels more in alignment with our path within this North Node being in the sign of Cancer, conjunct this eclipse. That's what conjunct the new moon, which is what makes it an eclipse. All right. Well, that is all for now. I hope that this was helpful. If you want to book a reading with me, I do astrology readings, I do past life regressions, also tarot readings. If you want to book any kind of reading with me, you can go to my site at cosmicguidance.online and you can book directly through that. I will leave my info in the description, and yeah, if you have any questions about the readings I do, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hold space for you. And yeah, happy new moon / solar eclipse in the sign of Cancer. All right, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.